Hi YouTube, we need to talk about some of the problems with Genji's perks. You guys know who I am, you guys know what I do. I've always set out to be the Genji guy. And I cover all sorts of things with Overwatch, but it's been a while since I talked about Genji. And a couple of people have been asking me in the comments, they've been like, hey Abby, what do you think of Genji's perks? Which ones do you like? Which ones do you don't? Do you think, are there any problems with some of them? So this is what this video is going to be about. Let's not waste any time and get the perk system going. So before I get started, hey, let's have a look at the perks over here. So when you click left alt, at least for me, this is Genji's first set of minor perks. You have Acrobatics, Swift Strike, resets the double jump. Then you have Dragon's Thirst, which basically gives you lifesteal. Now, the problem with Genji's perks is I see what they've been trying to go for, and it's kind of confirmed the theory of mine for a while now, because back when everybody was getting the 225 HP breakpoints and then small damage increases, people thought Genji would be on the receiving end of something like that too, because they thought, well, Genji is somebody who's very, very mobile, and most likely he'll go down to 225 and get some of his damage back, so his old playstyle can be brought back, which is what we all want, the more dive-centric, hyper-aggressive playstyle. Now, that didn't happen. And some things that I noticed in the pattern of his, perk design, if you look at Swift Strike resets the double jump and then Dragon Blade gives you lifesteal, there's a theme in all of this, is it just wants to give Genji more survivability, and that's probably why they let Genji maintain 250. I think internally within Blizzard's testing grounds, they feel that when you take away the 250 HP and give Genji the 225, he doesn't survive, and I don't know how to feel about that. I think that perhaps they're a little bit wrong on this, and I'll give a detailed breakdown in the future as to why maybe Blizzard's perspective on Genji is very, very flawed. There's so much to say about that. But the first thing I want to explore is when it comes to the minor perks, why would you ever take the acrobatics? The Swift Strike resets the double jump. You never need it. So let's assume I take it, right? Let's say I go for acrobatics. Okay, and what we're gonna double jump, we're gonna dash, and then we're gonna double jump again. Okay, when am I ever gonna use that? It barely gives me any momentum. It barely carries over the momentum from previously. And then the dash is like, the jump after the dash is so buggy that it's pointless. Have a look at this again, right? So we're gonna 1, 2, dash, 1, 2. There you go. Like, the thing is you don't even get 2 jumps. You get the second jump, right? So you just get the quote-unquote double jump, if you understand what I'm saying. So like, again, look at this, right? So this is the first jump. This is what the first jump looks like. Then jump 1, jump 2, dash, and then it jump 2. You see what I mean, right? It's not even a quote-unquote double jump, as in you have 2 extra jumps. You have 1 more jump. You never need this. So this perk is already useless. Like, what are you going to use it for? Like, oh, I'm going to pull up, go up, pull out Dragon Blade, and then like do another jump. Like, that's just useless. There's techs and ways to do that, right? Now, coming over to his major perks, the major perks have the same problem. Number 1, meditation, and number 2, blade twisting. The problem with both these perks is they're not bad, but their numbers are pathetically low. Number 1, blade twisting, is basically giving Genji back his original dash. If you guys didn't know, Genji was the first character in the game to ever have bleed. It wasn't Junker Queen. He had it way back in early Overwatch 1 beta, and at the time, because of the way the gameplay flowed then and the healing creep and support power creep didn't happen, it was broken. I can admit, I was there. Now, the thing is this dash is extremely conditional. So how does it work? Because there's a lot of people that are like, dude, I never get the dash to work. Let me explain how it works, right? Blade twisting. The way it works is you first keep an eye on the bottom right. Hold on, I'm going to zoom in for you guys. You see the bottom right, right? Look at this. First, you need to get an elim. When you get an elim, you have a timer, and in this timer, if you apply a dash, you're going to do the bleed damage. But the bleed damage is so pathetically low that it's practically non-existent. Look at that. It couldn't even secure that kill over there. So it couldn't even secure the kill. So the bleed damage feels almost useless. It's really good, for like what, maybe an extremely tiny breakpoint interaction. But it feels like they were scared to take risks with this guy. It feels like they were scared to take risks with this guy. Now let me explain the perspective of the other perks, because we talked about the ones on the left first, right? So now the other minor perk is Dragon's Thirst. This is probably one of the best perks in the game by far. The amount of fights that I've been able to clutch out, the amount of Dragon Blades that have been successful, I will give them a massive thumbs up. This is the best perk, one of the best perks in the game. It truly understands the problem with Dragon Blade and how, like, if you guys didn't know, Genji's hitbox actually expands just a little bit because his shoulders pop out. So he's even more vulnerable when he pulls out Dragon Blade. So this 30% lifesteal is amazing. I hope they don't change the number. I think 30% lifesteal is the perfect spot. Here, I'm going to play a clip in the background of me clutching a fight because of the Dragon's Thirst. Look at this clip. It is fantastic, isn't it? So Dragon's Thirst, it gets a seal of approval for me. Now, moving on over to the next perk over here, coming back over, we have Meditation. The problem with Meditation is exactly the same way that I explained Blade Twisting. Meditation is not a bad perk. It is technically a little bit more situational, but the issue with Meditation is the healing from it is so pathetically low that why would you ever use it? Okay, so Meditation's problem is that technically any beam damage can negate it and completely ignore it, to the point that, like, what's the point of having 25 extra healing, right? It's just the numbers are so small. I wish they would take a little bit more of a risk with the bleed, and also not just with the bleed, but also with the deflect, and make both the numbers either 50 DPS or 50 healing per second. So let's say you're playing against like a very beam heavy comp. Well, you can give it, like, even though your deflect cannot heal the beams, you can at least use the deflect to keep yourself healed up and maintain an off angle you're taking to poke and set up your dive, rather than have to sacrifice that angle and move away. You guys get what I'm trying to say, right? Again, as usual, you guys know English isn't my first language. I'm not really from such places, but I do my best to try and get my point across. So those are my, like, criticisms for Genji. Is like, especially when you come down to the minor perks, the funny thing is hold on, let me just kind of go back to Genji. The funny thing is the Dragon Blade lifesteal legit feels like a major perk, and then everything else feels like a minor perk. Like, the idea of a major perk is that it should transform your gameplay, and Dragon's Thirst does exactly that. It gives you great survivability, it transforms the gameplay, allows you to play way more aggressive, and you almost always have it with your first play, which is nice. So thumbs up on Dragon's Thirst. Meditation should, assuming they don't change up these perks, okay, because I think you can make these perks work. In order to make meditation work, change meditation to 50 healing a second when deflect is active. Okay, you can even nerf Genji's health down to 225, give him 25 extra give him one more extra damage. You know, there's still ways to rework this stuff and make it work. Number two, if they want to encourage the more aggressive playstyle with Genji and using the blade twisting, what's important is that blade twisting shouldn't have such a ridiculous condition. In my personal opinion, we are in such a state of the game where sustain is at an all-time high. There's many ways to trigger so many different passives. Characters have increased survivability. I genuinely believe you can allow him to have the bleed damage even if it's at 25 without the condition, and I actually think it's not even going to be that strong. In my personal opinion, you should push up the bleed damage to a slow damage over time that is 50 damage over time, rather than, you know, this, I think it's a slow 25 damage over time. So, like, let's just have a double check on that, because it's not even instant 25 damage, right? So yeah, it's a slow damage over time. It's so pathetic. Like, look at that. That's nothing compared to today, right? So especially with the HP pool increases and everything, I think these changes coming through would really help Genji. Genji is not by far like a bad DPS right now. He definitely, like, could use a little bit more help to help top him off as a very solid character who feels really good to play, but he's in a spot where you can at least play him. That I can appreciate about his current hero design. I can't say the same for Hanzo, and like I said, if you've missed the Hanzo video, please do check it out. It is up on the channel, so just visit the channel link. And in my opinion, like, I do think they could have been a little bit more creative with Genji's perks. I think there's a world where I would have really liked, if, let's say, I don't want the meditation perk, I would really like to see Genji with the Dragon Blade projectile attacks, because I think that has like some crazy clip potential, but I can somewhat understand if it's a little bit broken, because, you know, like, being able to slash through so many people, one-shotting them with a nano boost would be ridiculous. But then again, we could do that one thing that Genji players have been suggesting for God's sake for so long, that just don't let Genji be nano bladed, and we can just allow his gameplay to transform by looking into his kit rather than looking into how the game plays around him. Because sadly, one of the things about Genji is if the gameplay around him is favoring his playstyle, then he's going to be good. If the gameplay around him doesn't favor his playstyle and the way he wants to play the game, it's not going to be good. Again, like I said, Genji is only good right now because the gameplay around him is favoring the way he wants to play. And sadly, at the moment, he wants to play a slow brawl-like playstyle, which kind of works out in his favor because he's one of the more survivable flankers. He can take long extended duels somewhat, especially with some of the more survivability perks with meditation and a nice, like, support pocket, and the supports kind of got a big power creep through their perks. So in that regard, Genji as an individual hero pick is pretty solid A-tier character, but as an individual, in terms of, like, well, let's look at his design and how can we make it feel even better. he's okay. I wouldn't necessarily call him like in the best spot. I would really like to go back to the shuriken combo days of Genji, because nowadays you just cannot pull off effective shuriken combos, and trying to pull off a shuriken combo is setting yourself up for like a nice little suicide dive. Again, they could bring power back to the shuriken combos by allowing the dash to do the 50 damage over time, which should help him secure those kills and return to the dive-based playstyle, and not be outperformed by characters like Echo, Tracer, etc, etc. Anyways, everybody, that's going to be it for this video. What are your thoughts on Genji's perks? Do leave it in the comment section down below. I'm going to be discussing with you guys. And one more thing, more than half of you are coming back to subscribe. Excuse me, no, more than half of you are coming back to watch the video, but you're not all subscribed. Hey guys, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. It really helps a brother out. It's a free way to support the channel. Money's not looking so good, so if you guys don't mind at least supporting the channel for free, that would be lovely. Patreon is in the description. Doing my best to provide whatever I can to you guys. All I ask is for a little bit of help. It's been a little bit rough on my end lately. And with that being said, everybody, I will see you in the next video.